I know. Always late. Always late, but better late than never, people.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Help if I get rid of this. Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict. You can't see what sort of destroyed room this is right now, but it is destroyed. You're lucky I'm here because I've been building a table behind here for the TV. I have a TV, a new TV. It's quite sexy. I've not even combed my beard tonight, but without further ado, let's bring out on my two paranormal experts, and I mean paranormal experts. The first paranormal expert, Lee Stevens from Mussie Orbital. Mussie Orbital. Mussie Orbital.
Mussie Orbital.
I think it's Mussie Orbital.
How you doing?
I'm good, mate.
Yeah, did you comb your beard?
Of course I do. You got to when it gets this long. Otherwise you get rats in it. Got to get them out.
Never comb.
Who am I? Alistair Crowley.
Oh my God, that is
Come
brilliant.
on.
Stay there like that. Stay there. I have that picture.
Oh, he's doing it like this.
That's
You look
Rich,
more like the alien.
You need. That is a thumbnail right there. That is a thumbnail, Rich.
It's a thumbnail. It is.
You have to do it. You have to do it. Do a show on Alistair Crowley.
Ew, look how weird that looks.
See how quickly you can freak people out.
Lee, look how weird that looks. It's dancing upside down. It's
Oh, I
worms.
don't know if I can do. No, I can't do that. I can't.
Did I miss the memo?
We need
that
Dave
everybody,
here.
everyone would take
David.
crash this evening.
David,
Oh,
hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's all have his fingers. So, David, let's have a look. David, if you are watching the show right now, you do pop down in the section. You can thumb up once you're ready and you covered up your face.
Can't do it.
Fingers crossed, he's coming on. I'm getting thumbs up, so my nipples are
Oh,
exhausted with excitement.
no milk left.
But so, Rich, what? So you had Forrester. What's his name? Brian how do you pronounce this? It's not Foster, is it? It's Forrester.
Forster.
Forrester.
Yep.
You had him on the other day, and it was 20 minutes. Is there a full version somewhere? Because I've listened to it in my car on the way home.
Yeah, it says it's part 1 on there, and the power went out.
Yes, you said
when
that
we
in the
did
end.
that, yeah. So,
But I was driving. I was driving, Rich, and you went, but I've got some. The power went out, but I've got something special for you. And I'm thinking, I'm just hearing this music. I'm going, what is it? I nearly pulled over. I'm thinking, what's going on here?
There was a thunderstorm. It was in September, the end of the thunderstorm season here, and the power went out. And I was talking to him and couldn't get back. And I put that up for the patrons, and then I disseminated it to the public after. And the video is doing rather well. I was surprised. Gonna have 3,000 views. That's good.
Don't be surprised. He's an interesting chap.
Yeah, and Friday we have Michael Schrack coming on. Dun-dun-dun-sh.
That should be good. Is that going to be on actual GUFON? Is that going to the patrons first?
No. It's live, man. The guy's gonna come on. You know who he is?
Michael, yeah.
He's a UFO historian, man. Nobody better. He's on Third Phase of Moon panel. He's a member. We're gonna try to get John D'Souza on next.
Is he one of the members on the panel now?
He is. Yeah, for
Since
about
when?
8 months. Since February.
I need to watch myself some Third Phase of Moon. I do catch a show every now and again. But you know what it's like when you're trying to work on content yourself.
Too much
and also too much of that, yeah. Far too much of that, Lee. Mm-hmm. Lee, you need to shave your head.
What?
You need to shave
grow
your
my
head.
hair back again, seeing as how it seems to be growing back normally.
No, you
Maybe
gotta.
that's like-
It looks like you have what is that called? Bermuda Triangle thing up
Oh,
there. No
I know.
hair.
I don't know why. Yeah,
It's a
it's only that
birthmark.
bit though. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
always been there. But no,
Oh.
the top where I was worried about going bald seems to be going back. So I don't know. I
Maybe
rebooted
that's-
my hair.
Right, there we go. So before we start on the paranormal, people, if anybody's going bald, all you need to do, shave it off once, and it
goes
may
back,
grow
yeah.
back.
Turn it off and turn it on again.
And if it doesn't grow back, you did yourself a favor.
Yeah,
I
and if mine doesn't grow back properly, I'll just shave it off again.
It's so easy.
I did love the bald look, though. I have
quite
to
like
say,
it as
You
well.
looked like, oof, man, I wouldn't mess with that guy.
it was intelligent as well. It was a hardness, but an intelligence to that hardness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like pretending to be what I'm not.
You were a lovable biker looking dude. You're the biker that reads like, writes poems and shit like that. Sensitive biker guy.
So
when nobody's looking, he just weeps.
Right? Into a cup and he drinks it.
before we go balls deep into this,
Ooh.
how's the new house coming on, Rich? Because there's a lot of you spoke to me a few times about things that are weird noises. In fact, our last show, there was a bang, and if you go back to the video, it was actually at 3333 when that big bang happened in your house.
Yeah.
Did you ever
That was
find out what that was?
Well, apparently it was a sonic boom, but I'm not sure. I heard stuff falling in the room and felt it, but there was a sonic boom that happened around that time. Talked to my neighbor Joe. So I don't know, man. I don't think it was. I'm telling you. It was brutally loud. I
But
mean,
you
what?
had-
Yeah.
No, go on.
No, go.
No,
No,
so-
go ahead.
No, I am gonna. So you had very strange things happen at the other apartment because we used to talk back and forth. You used to blame the spoon, and the
Hey.
spoons come with you. Do you think it's anything to do with the spoon?
I just had an incident with the spoon.
I can't believe we're revisiting Spoongate.
Spoongate is
Just waiting for
unreal.
Dave.
Do you know I had no issues with the spoon until I mentioned it that one day and took it out and showed everybody, and then now I've had 2 spoon incidences sticking out of the drawer. I'm like, it has its own little special compartment I put it in. And how it was sticking out of the drawer is beyond me. It's not like I can pull out a knife or a fork and pull it out of that little container it's in. You just can't.
No,
So
I think you might need to get another spoon to keep it company of the same make and
yeah, I'd have to
model.
go.
maybe that's what you need to do to just calm that spoon down.
It's from early 1900s, man. That thing's old. It's over. It's like about 100 years old. that
It's going
spoon.
to cost a bit to get another spoon like that then.
Well, I never even thought about it. That's an interesting idea you got there. Maybe it needs a mate.
Maybe you could start like a GoFundMe for the spoon.
Yeah, but if
Just
you got
2 scoops.
if you got a new spoon, you'd have to get one the same sort of age. Because if you got like a new spoon, it'd be like a bit of a beast of a spoon, then, wouldn't it? Nobody wants
Well-
a pedo spoon.
So they could spoon together. That's true. That's
For anybody that's just joining the show that maybe has never been on this show or your show that has no idea, they've just joined because they've said, "Oh, paranormal." They're talking about fucking spoons.
hey man, that
Yeah,
thing's weird.
Rich
I'm telling you.
Rich has a haunted spoon.
It's heavy too. I know when I drop it, I'm like, damn, that thing, it hits so hard too. I think it screams.
Did you not say that there was things going on underneath the house?
Well, when I first moved here, about 3 weeks after, I noticed bricks were removed from the bottom of the house. It looked like something broke
showed me
out
that.
of the bottom because they were wedged out. Yeah, very heavy bricks too. Not something that like a squirrel or a rat could, push aside. Yeah, it's a weird place. There's some things happening here. I haven't talked about it because I haven't caught anything on camera, but I am planning a a week full of just having the cameras on every second of the day and hitting the main places that, because I get flashing lights, weird electrical problems. I see shadows. I think I'm losing it. Really, sometimes I'll be sitting there and I know I saw something go into the kitchen. I know it. And you can hear footprints. You can hear a footprint. You could hear footsteps on the floor. Sometimes you can feel it when they're walking down the hall. It's like, man, you could even hear little gravelly things, like dust and dirt on the bottom of the feet. It's crazy.
Lee, you go in a lot of people's houses, as a full-time robber. Do you believe that, in terms of ghosts or whatever you want to call it, spirits?
I don't believe in people's ghosts. I'm not saying that there isn't something like paranormal that goes on, but I don't believe that I can die and haunt a female dressing room.
I wasn't going to say that. What I was going to say to you is, do you believe it's that they chew? Because you've told us the story about the train set.
Yeah, Sam, that was dead weird. That's the only thing that possibly goes against my own thoughts on it.
So for anybody that has just joined never heard the story, Lee is a painter and decorator. I just got a super chat. Thank you, Lee. A very good evening to a lovely people.
Louise.
From Great Britain. What is wrong with me? Great Britain. I can't even pronounce my.
Isn't it a good job you don't have to do a live YouTube show now?
Is it a good job I'm not a prime minister?
Yes.
I think I'd do a better job. Louise, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the £5. And yes, Great Britain. It is great. I'm going to call it Great Britain now from now on. It's a better name. Do you think?
I think it's been downvoted to Britain right now.
Yeah, just Britain. Just plain up. That's
we can't claim the great thing at the minute.
Do you think it's the buildings, or do you think that people bring it with them?
Oh, I don't know. I think it could be both. I think Rich is frozen.
No.
Just listen. I think it can be both. I think I totally believe that there's places on Earth where, if you want to say, like, the veil is thinner between things, and I don't know. I don't know about people.
Why? We're energy, bro.
Yeah,
Come
but
on,
I don't,
bro. Where does it go, man? We're like 9-volt batteries.
No, that's fine. It's fine for us to have energy, but I don't know about us sort of attracting paranormal stuff.
Huh?
That's what he asked. Whether he thought that, like, it was places or people that attracted things.
What do you think it is? Sorry, Ali.
I think geographically there might be places where things are thinner, but I'm not sure about the people, like, drawing things in.
So you don't think I could be a beacon for some sort of apparition-y, ghosty, spirity?
I don't know. I mean, you maybe it's more actions rather than people. If you look at somebody that thinks and does a lot of negative things, generally, like, attracts, like, negative look towards themselves. So maybe it's something like that. Like, depending on your actions, maybe you can open yourself up to these things a bit more.
So we do have David that has just joined. David, are you ready? I take it the fact you blacked out. You are ready.
He blacked out?
Not up. Let's do that.
Misted. Totally misted.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to bring you up, David. There we go. Dwayne Alessandro. I think it's Dave. It could be just a randomer.
It's him. That's his smoke. Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Camacho. What is up, DEMDC?
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yes.
No,
yes,
we
can
can't.
hear you. Loud and clear. Sorry, Rich. I stole your joke there.
No jokes. I'm done joking. Let's get serious now.
Yeah,
I didn't realize you
we've
started.
we've had 14 minutes
Yeah.
of fun.
Come on.
We've had
Lee,
40
shave your head.
Quick.
Dave, welcome, mate.
Hola.
I should have said Dwayne.
Yeah, seen Idiocracy, right? That's President Camacho. That's his actual name.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's his full name.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Learn something new every day.
Well, at least somebody's teaching me. So I just asked Lee the question, and Rich the question.
No, I was just pointing up to Lee.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for pointing out Lee. Stop it.
I'm gonna go.
So the question I asked was to Lee, because he decorates a lot of people's houses. He goes to a lot of old houses. Is, does the paranormal choose a location, or does it follow people? Because Lee had an experience in an attic with a train set that was rather odd.
What was the experience?
You have said it, but it's kind of on point, Lee. So quickly give it a bell.
Basically, there was a house I was working in. It's one of the oldest houses, sort of on the island I live on. It's probably a couple hundred years old. The like there's pictures in there of it before, like the main sort of population hub on the island is a town called Douglas, and it was there before like the main population hub was there. So my job was to go in and paint all the windows, the insides of them. Went up to the top, to the attic, see what was in there. Cut a long story short, opened the attic door. Oh, sorry, bearing in mind, this place is like a listed building, so the government pay the family to own it, essentially, not to live in it. So when you go in it, it's like 18-foot paintings on the wall, hung by chains and stuff like that. It's like going back in time. And I opened the attic door, and in the middle of the attic was a big train set, a bit like the town in Beetlejuice, if you can think of that. Mm-hmm. But when I opened the door up, the train was going around the tracks. There was lights in the houses, and there was smoke coming out of one of the chimneys. And I calmly shut the door and walked back down the stairs and worked in the hallway till I had somebody else to come in with me.
You didn't knock on the door of the house?
Absolutely.
The chimney?
No, not at all.
I think I would have.
Yeah, that whole place was really weird. There was one of the bedrooms as well. I wish I'd kept the photograph because it was on my old phone before cloud storage and stuff like that. And it was a bedroom, and if you can imagine, there's a 4-poster bed in the middle of it, but then in front of the 4-poster bed, there's no windows in front of it, and it's just mirrors like all around the room. But if you stand slap bang in the middle of the room, the way all the mirrors are angled, you can't see yourself in any of the mirrors. It's really weird. But yeah, it was one of those things where you go, it's not an accident. Somebody's designed that room for some reason. So if you stand slap bang in the middle of it, you're not in any of the mirrors. Made me feel a bit like a vampire.
That's weird. I actually had a similar conversation about that topic you just bring up, whether it's places or people or things, because some people have events in one house that they move into, and then another family moves in. It's not, and I don't know, man. There's no rhyme or reason. I personally don't think that anyone will get any answer that'll satisfy anything. I think it has a lot to do with people and families and individuals. I think some people are a little more susceptible, or maybe some people are a little more attractive to those things, or more in tune, or maybe they're a walking tuning fork that just, maybe it's always there and everyone before it just, is oblivious. Kind of like, I was reading a statistic today talking about, so do you guys have inner monologues in your head? Like you have a conversation with yourself when you're working?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Did you know a lot of people don't?
What?
Really?
Like a substantial portion of the population.
Don't speak to themselves.
No, out loud, not in their head.
What tells them to kill the people?
Probably nothing. They're probably the ones getting killed. Those are the NPCs, man. Yeah, they're the ones getting ganked.
Ah.
I don't know.
So a lot of the majority of the population don't talk to themselves in the head.
I don't know if it's the majority. It's a lot. So the statistics on it are skewed. Like people doing studies in consciousness and stuff, and all the guys are like, "Oh yeah, why?" Because they're like doing a thing like think of an animal with a long trunk that's gray with big ears. Everybody thinks of the same thing, right? It's an elephant. Whether you hear the inner monologue go, "It's an elephant," maybe you visualize a picture in your head of an elephant. If you take the time to think about those two things, your brain is just really mush, proteins, electrical impulses. How did you see and visualize an image in your mind? How did you, and everyone always refers to it the same way. You hear a voice in your head, right? That your inner monologue, I'm talking to myself. It's always a speech thing. What you don't hear inside your brain, it's just an electrochemical mush. So it's the consciousness. And what is that? It opens up whole things if you want to get into that. But so you start thinking along those lines, and maybe some people are wired and tuned, and they go into a place and they're just like, fuck this, and go somewhere else. And other people are like, oh no, everything's great. The chair just levitated. No, it happens all the time. Just some people,
The reason why I asked that about, I know with you, David, that it does follow you very much, but it seems to follow Rich, and Lee doesn't speak too much about the paranormal side, other than the fact that he's had you don't have experiences. Do you have a lot of experiences yourself with ghosts or anything, Lee?
No, the only thing I have in this house, which I haven't had anywhere else, is, and this is again is probably me just being old, forgetful, and daft. But like tonight, for instance, came in the house, walked in the living room, took my overalls off, went to get changed, walked back, thought, oh, where's my phone? So I was looking around the house with my phone, ended up having to go and get my house phone to ring my mobile phone. And then when I rang my mobile phone, it was sat on the table as you first walk in my living room. Like it's impossible to be out of eye line. And it was just one of those things where you look at it and you go, I'm either slowly turning into some sort of retard, or I've got a ghost.
So just for my own benefit, were you not wearing pants the whole time since you took off your overalls? I just want the mental image.
Just boxers.
Nice.
But they're safe boxers because they don't have a hole on the front of them.
Oh well, that just lost it for me. But
you see, my wife says that's fairies, because this happens to us all the time in here. Well, you may not notice from behind me, but we do tend to sometimes live a life of chaos, and things go missing. My wife always blames the fairies. I just say no, it's because you are messy.
Do you know we have a road in the Isle of Man that goes over a bridge that we call Ferry Bridge, and I would say a good 95% of the population of the Isle of Man says hello to the fairies driving over that bridge. It's really weird.
You got that many people saying it, maybe they're manifesting on their own.
Maybe
they can do weird things.
Yeah,
I got an interesting story. It's something that we've been dealing with in my house. It's a little off topic, but if we're talking about paranormal and haunting,
no, definitely that's the subject. I didn't know if you wanted to speak about the stuff that's I've seen some of the stuff that's gone on in your house.
This is pretty new. I think I might have talked to you about it. So I have 4 kids, and my second to youngest is my daughter. One of my 2 daughters, and she has an invisible friend called Baby Josie, who apparently followed her home after we went on a walk. So we live in for America anyway, an older neighborhood. Our house is a historic place. It's a registered historic place, which just means it's a pain in the ass if you want to paint or do something. But anyway. So my daughter said she's been seeing an invisible friend, Baby Josie. Now, Baby Josie doesn't show up when I'm home, but Baby Josie comes around when my wife is there. Baby Josie wears little white dress, and she's from the house down the street, the house that used to be a funeral parlor, by the way, in the 1890s. And yeah, so Baby Josie tries to get her to come outside and play, and my daughter sleepwalks. I do some bizarre things in my sleep too, and most of my kids do. But we have a pretty elaborate security system due to my paranoia. And at like 6:00 one morning, a couple weeks ago, my daughter somehow got past the locks, opened them up, disarmed the security, and went on a walkabout through the neighborhood. It was about 25 degrees. She was in her jammies. One of the neighbors saw her, knew it was our daughter, and went over and grabbed her. And when she grabbed her, she just started screaming because she came out of her sleepwalk.
What time was that again?
It's like 6:30, 6:33, something like that. It's pretty early in the morning. We're lucky. It was a Saturday.
Yeah, that is.
It was a Saturday. So, and she said that baby Josie was taking her to her house. And sure enough, she was walking in that direction, which is counterintuitive because to get to that place, like we live at the top of the hill, but there's a little bump to, I don't know. She wasn't going if she was going to go the path of least resistance, she would have gone in a different direction, which kids usually do. They usually don't go for a difficult route. It's man tracking stuff. People usually go in the path of least resistance. But yeah, so that was a really big deal. So I spent a fortune and re-upgraded all the security, and now it's all biometric. So she can't disarm, and I have no idea how she did it. So we have security footage on the outside of the house, not the inside. And every square footage, so I could watch her try. I could watch her head's down. She's kind of just lolling, and she puts her hand out like she's holding someone's hand and starts walking. So something showed up and took my daughter out in the freezing cold of the morning.
Freak me the fuck out.
That's the least of the strange things that happened, but that was a pretty big one. And so I have a standing appointment with baby Josie. I told her if baby Josie shows up, she needs to come see me. And she says, baby Josie doesn't like me, and baby Josie won't come in the house when I'm home. But baby Josie's big brother is going to come see me or something like that. Baby Josie's big brother is a large, dark figure.
Did you say you've got 4 kids?
4, yeah.
Yeah, you see, that might be the time that I decide to take that particular child out into the forest, leave them there, and think, still got 3.
Birds are aliens and to watch us.
This is probably true. Thank you, Sleep Drone. Birds are probably, they probably are. There's probably no such thing as birds. They're just all aliens with cameras on.
Yeah. I mean, if I was gonna route them out by bizarre children, I wouldn't have any children left. They're all pretty freaking weird. You know, she's a little creepier than most, but the other 3 are pretty damn creepy. All by like, I don't know. I got stories about each one that just would make your hair crawl and stand up on the back of your. And that's part of the reason my wife believes I should have came with a warning label.
Yeah, I think
she's not down at that at all.
Your wife in the background after a show that we had done it, and she was laughing about what you said.
Yeah, yeah. Like I guess I was out on a contract, and our son. We were in this house, and was it our son? I believe it was our son was playing with an imaginary bubble or something, and I don't know. He's pretty little, and my wife was trying to tell him, that's not real. No one's there. And she went back to like making dinner, and someone threw a rag at her, hit her in the back of the head with a rag. And she thought it was one of the kids. At that time, we only had 2. And it wasn't one of our kids because one was apparently down for sleep and Paul was in the, like watching TV doing what he does. And yeah, she was alone. And our kitchen is very large, but it's open. Like our house on the exterior is a classic old Victorian home. Inside's been totally remodeled. So you got, the kitchen's, like 900, 1,000 square feet of just open space, other than like an island and a table off to the dining room. That's a whole nother animal. But yeah, she doesn't know where it came from. Scared the shit out of her, and she stopped talking shit about my son's imaginary friend. I had no problems with that imaginary friend. I got some problems with baby Josie.
I do. I think kids are switched onto it. I really do. I mean, I can remember all sorts of things, weird memories as when I was a child. Rich, you seem to have led from me speaking to you now for, I think, nearly 4 years. I'm sure it's nearly. It could be. Is it less? I know.
You and I.
Years. Yeah, about nearly 4 years.
We started talking at the end of 2019.
No, it was before that.
Okay.
Definitely. It was a bit before that. I think it was the beginning.
Okay.
But we spoke on a personal basis about your life being very much a paranormal life. So, like, David's kids are kind of, it seems that they're the sponges for this. Do you remember anything as a child with the paranormal?
Yeah.
Things go.
You were saying things what?
No, you just said yes. So
Yeah, I have had, even at a very young age, like around 6-ish, I started, remembering things or not losing the memory of certain things. And I had a couple of times where I don't know what it was or how, whether it was a lucid dream, but it hasn't happened since. But early on, I told my mother about it. She just laughed it off. That I was shrunken down, and I'm not even joking, to like the size of like an inch. And I was with these two other humans, but they weren't human. I just knew they weren't. I don't know what they were. I never fully saw them, but I saw them. You know what I mean? It's like it was like a peripheral, even if I look straight at them. And they said, "Don't be scared. We just want you to see what we see." And I actually saw my furniture huge. My bed was huge. I started feeling really odd because of the change. And it was just, that was a recurring thing, and I didn't like it because it made me feel weird because of that. And I don't think I've ever told that story, but yeah, I've had a story where I was jumping up and down on my bed, and my parents couldn't get in the room, and because my brother passed away when I was 6.5, and I said, "He's here, he's here. Who's here?" They said, I don't remember this, but they broke the door to get into the room. And I was sitting on the bed crying, "Who was here?" Yeah, and I said my brother's name. So that stuff has always been with me. My family used to do seances, from what I found out. Like, this is like real Italian women from the old country living in Brooklyn with ceilings that are only 5.5 feet tall. They, according to my mother, things were lifted up and thrown around like a washer and dryer, the table, my uncle Vito, or whatever. Yeah, Vito. Yeah, Vito Corleone. Yep, he was picked up, and a lot of weird things that I believe happened because they're from the old country, and they did seances every single weekend.
And your mum saw some of this happen?
It was my great aunt, my mother's aunt, like my mother's sister.
Right.
So yeah, Aunt Helen. And I remember going into that home, not knowing all this stuff, of course, like 7, 8 years old. It was before I moved to Arizona. And we would have Easter there and Thanksgiving. And, it was just that's where the family was from, Brooklyn. So we always met at the central location. And I remember seeing a little thing. It wasn't a boy. I called it the little boy, but it wasn't. It was like a dog. And it was at the top of their stairs. And I go, "Aunt Helen, do you still have the dog?" She goes, "What? Why does he keep talking about a dog? We don't have no dog here." I said, "I saw one up the stairs." And then I hear, they're all whispering to each other. So my mother told me, not too long ago that house has been used for seances so much that they got stuff all over the place. So I grew up with it that way, hearing this and that, but experiencing things, and then walking my dog, I could feel, didn't understand it, but I could look in the homes as I was walking down the street, and in my mind I would imagine what people were doing, but apparently I was right on a few things. A couple arguing, then the police were called, but I didn't hear them arguing. I just said, I don't know why I said that. Somebody died in that house. Oh, well, that's interesting. Didn't know why the ambulance was there, but Richie said that he saw them dead. So I've always had these weird things. I hope that answers your question.
Do you think do you feel like you've lost a bit of that?
No.
Getting older?
Nah. Nope.
So you still think you've got that sense about you that when something bad's going to happen on
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. More than ever. I just never talk about it because it's not something I want to do. I mean, lately I've done a couple of, those tarot card readings, but just for the hell of it, it's just to see, how accurate you can be. And, well, I did one for Dorothy. She said it was freaking accurate.
You did one for my wife. And it was pretty accurate.
Yeah, that's right. That was the extended version I did for her.
It was spot on.
Yeah, it's just for fun. But, I like to prove to myself that I can do what the magicians do and the hoaxers and liars and cheaters. Now, a lot of people are going to say, how can you say that? You just said you had all these paranormal experiences as growing up and all this and that, and your dead brother and your mom and the seances. And I'm like, hey, I still don't have any proof. It sucks. But it's, I say this on the show a lot. It's a personal experience. Paranormal activity, if you talk to anybody else about it, they're not going to believe you, even if, they have experiences themselves. Because they're like, oh, yeah, right, sure. I don't know. It's a weird field. It's like, I don't want to put myself in that category of like a psychic or an empath or anything, even though I am pretty much. But I don't want to be that. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's this bad stigma that comes with it, worse than UFOs, and I don't want to be a part of it. So we just have fun once in a while. Try not to take it too seriously, even though the Ouija board tried to kill me.
I wouldn't ever mess with that.
Yeah.
You ever mess with You ever mess with one, Lee?
No, never.
New Year's Eve, we're gonna cut that thing into bitty pieces. I'm going to have grandfather come over. We're going to slice it up into tiny bits.
Well, you're going to cut the Ouija board up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I don't think you know the grandfather, the guy that says he's 3 million, 20 million years old.
Oh.
He said he was going to cut me into little pieces. Remember that guy? Kenneth Pass.
Itty bitty bits.
Yeah. I'm going to slice you into little bitty pieces.
Yeah, I never saw the show, but I've seen the clip.
Oh, yeah.
He's a mentally ill guy. He needs to
a little bit
get back on his more than a little bit.
Yeah. He just emailed me too.
Did he? Yeah, he won't let go.
But it was a mass email to everybody on Messenger, I believe. I don't know. I think it was. Oh no, it was an email, and I emailed him back. Now, it wasn't nice, but he hasn't responded.
He'll dwell on it for a while. He'll make a YouTube or a
He's
TikTok
probably
or
outside. Yeah.
Taking pictures of the clouds. No, man. He lives in Section 8 housing in Cookeville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
He's
Section
just
8.
ill. Yeah. He's a sad character.
It is sad.
What part of Arizona did you live in? I have a tremendous amount of family in Arizona.
I lived in Scottsdale, like right in between, like right on the border of Scottsdale and North Scottsdale, like beyond Bell Road, Pinnacle Peak.
Gotcha.
Do you know that area, Pinnacle Peak and Tatum?
My family mostly kept me away from the other family out there.
Oh, well, Arizona's beautiful, but I wouldn't want to live there again.
We visit, but I don't know, this kind of turn off that. But no, we have family in Happy Jack, Flagstaff.
Oh, wow, way up north.
Yeah, and Surprise.
You can tell me.
No, it's a surprise.
I know, it's a retirement community. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of Sun City. Surprise, Arizona. Yeah, I've been to Surprise.
Yeah, they lived in one of those they live in the walled-in neighborhoods. keep all the pores out.
David.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I hope you don't mind me. I mean, we've spoke about already on the show that briefly that you kind of switched on to this and always have been. Was that from being a child?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was probably 5 or 6, similar to Rich, when events started happening that I can recall. Wasn't really like a choice, you know. I see a lot of that going on with my kids, so I'm able to explain it to them. Only later in life did my parents admit that they had also encountered, like they've encountered strange things as well. But they always just kind of like, nope, it's explainable. It's something else. It's not that. It's fine. Everything's fine. You know, the middle of the carpet might light on fire. Nope, it's fine. It's fine. Happens all the time. This is natural. You know, all the lights in that neighborhood go out except for our house, and then our house goes out and everything else comes on. Nope, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. You know, swimming pool out back, the water's boiling. Nope, it's fine. Happens all the time. It's okay.
What? You're joking about that, right?
Yeah, I'm
Poltergeist.
joking about
Yeah, it's like poltergeist.
Well, the pool, yes. The boiling water,
Yeah.
no. Yeah. Things like that.
Wait,
yeah.
the pool was boiling?
No, that was, I was just being facetious.
Oh my goodness, that would have been
would've been-
phenomenal.
Yeah. But
What if you'd have got in it?
not if he'd got in it. Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's things like that. Yeah, it is what it is. You know, most again, it like I could give you a highlight tour and it sounds like a lot, but compared to like a normal life and expansive, like if I gave you all the activity that's happened in the past 2 years, it sounds like a lot. But that's 2 years worth of time. It's actually not a lot. It's an occasional occurrence, and you're like, well, at this point in my life, in these years, it's, well, you know, shit happens, and you roll on. I'm usually more taken aback when other people are involved outside of my family. And it's more entertainment value for me to watch them react. It's just kind of fun at this point. But yeah.
I think it's weird how some people never see anything.
Well, that is exactly why I did that was going to be part of the actual the wording for this video, but I just put it into the thing, out of sight, out of mind, because I do think it's weird, and you've just nailed it there, Rich. There's that people that they feel like they've got if they see something, you find that people will then have other experiences on the back of that. But if they've never seen anything, then nothing ever seems to happen. And you say, have you ever had an experience? No, I've never had anything. But from one experience triggers many experiences. And I think that's the same with UFOs. If you've had experiences with UFOs, then you generally have paranormal experiences. And this seems to be the pattern that I'm getting when I get people on the show. Either that, or they just want to tell me, like, you know, yeah, I've seen UFOs, I've seen Bigfoot, I've seen the Loch Ness Monster. You do get those type of people, but I do feel that certain people are switched onto this.
Certain people is the key. Certain people, like my dad says, I never see anything. You know, my mother's like, oh, I see stuff. And I think some people, when it depends on how the experience happens, does it actually change your vibration to a point where now you're a beacon for this stuff? You've been triggered somehow for them to come to you. You know, I saw lights in the sky before I had that one experience with my wife. That did change me because I was able to focus in on it and watch it, and did something to me. You know, it made me really curious instead of something passing by and I didn't have time to process it. I think when you have time to process things and understand it a little more, I think, yeah, your curiosity increases. So you start maybe looking for it or noticing things and not dismissing things like you used to.
So you'd say your curiosity gets weaponized?
I think it does, you son of a bitch. Wow, that was really good.
That's 10 for 10, man. 10 for 10.
Yeah, right? I mean,
No, he's opened his mouth now. So come on, Lee, spill the beans.
yeah.
Anything from your childhood. I mean, I'm interested. Anything family? Nothing.
Nothing.
You boring bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I see. What I would think is I wouldn't.
But you believe in it.
I believe there's. I don't. There's too many people have too many stories. So the way I look at it is not everybody can be lying. So
Right.
it's like UFOs, isn't it? Even
Yeah.
if one abduction story is real and every other abduction story is a lie, it's still fucking crazy.
Yeah. My wife is a woman of trying to keep anonymity there, of science and math. Wildly intelligent. She's got all the good credentials. Very, very smart lady. Never been a fan of this. Always kind of looked at me like I'd be like, listen, we're not going to these people's house. Why? It's like, 'cause I'm not walking in their fucking house. It's not going to happen. She's like, oh, is this one of those things? It's like, it's one of those things. And then when she got pregnant, things for the first time started happening to her. And then when she's not pregnant, they stop. And then it would start when she got pregnant again. Poor woman. I kept her pregnant for years. But when you're good at something, right?
I'll help you out.
Thank you. But yeah, so now she is. I mean, she's still like, we had a bizarre occurrence. My mom was in the house, and the kids were in the house, and my oldest daughter was behind me and saying like bubble, I don't know, something bubble. I couldn't make it out. And my wife turned. She's like, she's wanting you to look at that bubble. And I turned around, and there's a bubble. Let's see, great. But at about eye level when I turned around, and it's just like a little soap bubble because my wife had been doing the dishes, and I was filling around with some stuff in the locker we keep by the door, and I just kind of stood there and stared at the bubble. I was like, well, that's strange, and the bubble just kept floating, didn't go up, didn't go down, didn't move, it just stayed there, and so much so that my son, who's older, came over and looked at it, and he's like, wow, look at that. And so we're all looking at it. My mom comes over and she's like, oh my God, that's still it's just there. And then all of a sudden the bubble started to move. And I was like, I was trying to get my wife's attention. I was, honey, you got to see this. She's like, nope, everything's fine. She's like, it's just a bubble. Everything's fine. And she must have said that 4, 5, 6 times, like just in a row, like a cadence. And so we're all freaking out watching the bubble. Now all my kids are involved. And we're chasing this bubble as it's moving around the kitchen, which is, again, fairly large. It moves into the dining room, which is fairly large. And we have these two they're about 10 feet tall, barn-style doors that open up from the dining room that go past the stairs into like one of those old Victorian sitting room type things with the rounded windows. So like the bubble went through there, and it's like spinning around. And finally my wife comes and looks at it. And at this point, she can't deny that this is bizarre because it went up because we had the ceiling fan in that room off, and the bubble goes up and starts weaving through the ceiling fans. Now it's me. We got 3 adults watching it. I got 3 kids, I believe, at this time were watching it. And the kids are going crazy. The dog's losing his fucking mind, barking left and right. Constantly. Like, that was one of the other things I think if I remember clearly, it's been a while. Excuse me. Salmon. The dog was barking. I was yelling at the dog while I was fiddling with the locker, and my daughter's behind me, I guess, trying to get my attention for the bubble. And finally, my wife's like, all right, this is bizarre. The bubble dived at her, swerved away, and hit the dog in the nose. He shut up and ran to the other room.
Did it just pop like a normal, like soap
Pop
bubble?
like a normal bubble. Yeah. Although he went away yelping. Like, he stayed under the table that night. I mean, he's not a big, aggressive dog. He's a little bitch of a dog, but it's fluffy and just a little soap bubble. Yeah, just a soap bubble. And then later, my wife was back in the kitchen. She said, it's a soap bubble. I'm sure it's the air currents. It's an old house, and I was like, it's not an old house. We had it renovated. It has spray foam insulation, all new wiring, all new plumbing, brand new everything, all brand new windows, double pane, sealed, energy efficient. I was like, there's no drafts in this house. Again, and then as she's doing that, we have a decorative mount that's fairly high up. I think it's like 8, 9 feet above the, not 8, 9 feet above the floor. So it's, like 4 or 5 feet above the stove where she was at. And we have little decoration things, and they're mounted. One of those fell off and clocked her in the head as she was trying to explain things away.
Was she pregnant at this time?
No. Oh, well, it's a funny question. So we found out later, yes, she was. She had just been impregnated by me.
So you mentioned something that was interesting that has been documented with people who get possessed. And a lot of possessions happen to like girls going through puberty. and like 14, 13 years old. It's a fact. It's something having to do maybe with the chemical change in a woman's body, just like your wife, when she's pregnant, has a chemical change in her body of increased hormones because of the new baby. And I think that plays a big part in seeing these things. Somehow, some way, it may play a role. And I wish there was some sort of science behind it. Like, let's see what happens if we give somebody extra testosterone or more estrogen. Would it change their chemical makeup enough that they would have paranormal experiences?
I've thought about that exact same thing, and I've had some discussions with some other people when it comes to young girls having. They're very prone to poltergeist activity. And we'd wonder, is it the increase in hormones? It's the influx, because teenage boys go through that, but they don't go through that. You know what I mean? It's generally they don't have weird experiences. They just want to fight their dad or get laid. But which is both are totally understandable. With the young girls, I always wondered if it was the beginning of like some kind of blood sacrament that attracts these things a lot more than hormones. Because because people always like, and I'm that guy too. Like if we were to have a discussion about this, like why do you people have lucid dreamings? Well, we understand that it's the right and left hemisphere working together, and there's lots of training you can do to make that happen. There's chemicals you can take to make that happen. Maybe some people are more natural. So you, Rich, you say you're a little bit, and I hate the word vibration and sensitive, but
I hate it too.
I despise it.
What else do you say?
There is nothing. There isn't. There's nothing else, but I despise them. So maybe maybe that hemisphere, maybe it switches on and off, allows you to tune into something else that's going on. Maybe it requires that. And genetically, other people aren't predisposed to allowing that to happen. I've also wondered if it goes on with my wife, is it the fact that my genetic material is now mated with her, and for the first time it is with or without consciousness and vulnerable or moving into the world.
Wow.
And
I like that. Yeah.
And it's I mean, I don't know. I definitely don't think I'm special. I don't really help.
Might be.
It definitely is. I've heard that from many, many, many people.
Back away from that microphone.
I wonder if it's if it's something that helps perceive threat levels. You talk about sort of like pregnant women and
my
like
sperm.
Your sperm, but also pregnant women and children going through puberty and things like that, because obviously I'm not a pregnant woman or a child going through puberty, but I often find that there's when you go in certain rooms and there's no rhyme or reason for it, but you just feel uncomfortable there.
Hell yeah.
You feel it in the back of your neck, everything tightens up a little bit. You walk a little bit quicker to get out of that room and into the next room, and then that feeling is completely gone as soon as you cross another threshold and you're somewhere else. In my rehearsal room where I rehearse with the band, there's a corridor to go to the toilet. Makes me feel like that every time I go to the toilet in our rehearsal room. I've just wondered whether is this like something we've forgotten, like some sort of primordial like fear detection for something that we don't
like
genetic
a defense
DNA.
mechanism.
Yeah.
It's just natural. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, think about it. If we were sleeping in caves or even not in caves, wouldn't you have to sleep with one eye open because you could be eaten?
Yeah.
So maybe it's that heightened sense of whatever.
Well, we keep saying, and we've said this on quite, I think all three of us, and I know you've said this, David, that maybe we don't know what this is. Whatever it is, it may be as scared of us as we are of it, whatever it is.
I've actually been forming a different theory based on something I heard recently, so this is fairly new. I think maybe I spoke to you about it, maybe I didn't. I apologize. My brain is not firing on all cylinders right now. It's been a very long day. But I don't know if you're familiar with this, and I'm sure someone in the chat will correct me and or help out or give the proper name. It's a known thing that humans dislike, are afraid of, or inherently distrust things that look human-like. There's actually a bridge between comical to things like computer animations that are generated that are very close to human.
The uncanny valley thing.
Thank you, uncanny valley thing. Yeah. So the more I've been thinking about that is all people. That's, I mean, everyone polled. They're like, what do you think about this on a scale? How disturbing is it? People find it above average disturbing. This is universal. I mean, think about it yourself. You see that 3D animation of a movie, you're like, that's great. But when they zoom in on the face, you're like, that's why they don't do that so much anymore, because it makes people unsettling. So there is something genetically hardwired in us to distrust, be afraid of, or be aloof of things that look like us, but are not us.
That's really interesting.
That is bizarre.
So there's two to take that weird. There's two places you can go with that, isn't it? Did at one time human beings have a predator that could make itself look like a person, but not be a person, but isn't a person? Maybe
we still do.
Yeah. Or is it simply looking at something that looks like us, which is soulless, that hasn't got that spark of human energy about it that unsettles us?
I know that guy. He works at the gas station down the road.
Yeah. It's also me, if you look deep in my eyes.
Now, I mean, if you look at, like, go to the missing 411 or people that disappear around the world, or the people that disappear, I mean, David Paulides really stumbled on something there. You look at those disappearances that the governments around the world do not want to talk about. So, I mean, I live near one of those very big things. I mean, my wife and I, for our 5-year anniversary, we went backpacking into the wilderness for a couple of weeks, like legitimately. Like that was our thing. And after I found out about that, we'd had our son. I was like, nah, we're waiting until he's older. I'm like, I'm not taking any little kids out there. No, thank you. And I've hunted and hiked and all that most of my life. Like, that's not a thing. Now, I have been out there when everything goes quiet, and I've always figured it was a bear passing by or something. Probably was. But it is something. I mean, you look at that, that's a predation rate on people that are wandering. Not only that, when you look at the people who disappear, that are sick, that are ill, that are off, that are German for some reason, maybe they're settling a score. Yeah, there's something to it. I mean, if you're a hunter, you're going to take something out in the wilds, and you're going to take the smallest, weakest, sickest, oldest, take them off. You know,
this is so interesting to actually hear this, because when I'm not scared of any horror film, but if there is a person in that is a human being but doesn't quite sit right as a human being, I find that terrifying. Like as much as I can get terrified about a movie, but it's same with people. I generally do find people that I don't trust more terrifying than I find a lion. You know, I would probably prefer to be in a cage with a lion, as long as I was on a very high rock, than I would, you know, a strange person that I had no idea what they wanted, but they just look sinister. You know, I would be more scared of the person than of the lion.
But there's people as well, isn't there? There's people that give you that feeling. I mean, obviously, the first person that comes to mind when you talk about this is Zuckerberg, isn't it? If you want to talk about a real human being that gives you that uncanny valley feeling, it's Zuckerberg.
He does. Him sipping that water during that congressional hearing. This is what humans do. This is what humans do.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Well, I mean, what he's really doing is he probably had a body language coach, and that's like poker players do it. If you learn counter interrogation techniques and stuff, that part of that is learning how not to give away tells with body language. And part of it is to do either a bizarre thing or a mundane thing repeatedly. You ingrain it enough, and then it makes you damn hard, if not impossible, to read without letting go of the control.
Well, they all seem all celebrities they all seem to drink strangely. Like, it's almost like they're like, I do need water, but I will try and drink it without drinking it. And they're not, like
I think they've just been isolated from reality too long.
Yeah, but, Kanye West does stuff like that.
Yeah.
I hate Kanye West.
But you like it to watch him?
No, I hate him. I watch him and I feel like this is what's wrong with society. Him. No, really. He's not smart. He's the dumbest guy I've ever heard. I don't know how he made it. I think his music sucks. Anyway, it's not about me or him.
There you go, Lee. There's something that you can do every now and again is drop a Kanye West line for Rich to enjoy.
Don't
Make a collage.
Don't.
I thought you were going to say, see, he said Kanye West is stupidly, you might have a career in music.
If that guy, I don't know, that guy made it because, well, I can't say it, but I know how he made it.
How did he make it?
I can't say it.
No, he can't say it. If he's
But
gonna say
he slept his way to the top.
Oh, did he blow a bunch of dudes?
Come on, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he did.
I think mostly all adults.
But
I'm a child.
No.
I'm a child, but
I personally think he hung around with people that worship owl gods.
yeah, it's something like that, man. I mean, because I don't see him. I know good rap and good music, and his stuff is awful. It's just awful. I don't know how anybody could like it.
There's one song I like. The one where he's on the piano.
One song out of 40. God, I could do that.
I thought his religious snap was telling. Maybe because I'm a judgmental, untrusting person, but I've always found that when people have these great epiphanies of religion out of nowhere, or spirituality,
He's so fake. It's all fake.
well, yeah, I mean that's the point. Is like it's this outward, constant profession of. It's kind of like a couple that posts on social media how in love and how great things are all the time, and you're like, they're definitely getting divorced.
That's it.
And then a week later, they get divorced, and you get
That's
people. It's
funny.
like, it's all about God and Jesus, and everything's gonna be great. Everything's great. I'm all about it. I'm building church. Everything's great. It's like, what the fuck is that guy dealing with? What's he really into? Like, what is he trying to undo? I don't know.
Those are the ones that
I got to be honest. I don't want to know.
Yeah, but David, you said the celebrities, that they probably don't actually know what they're messing with, and it's probably just the narrative that when they're going to get the pictures done, that the people up high are saying, right, we want you in this pose. They have no idea what they're doing when it comes to
I mean,
eyeballs.
I think that for 99% of them. I mean, I live near a place with a bunch of musicians and actors live, and you can just walk around and meet them. Or at least I used to live there. We moved away because of the influx of douchebaggery that was moving there. But I haven't really. I mean, I've met several. None of them blew my socks off. Was just wow. I get it. This guy's really talented. You'd be like, this douchebag? What? This guy, this is the big deal. This guy is the big deal. Now, occasionally you meet someone and you're like, holy shit, this guy is really gifted, really talented, or a woman that, wow, you have a 1 in a million talent. This makes sense. It's undeniable. But I mean, think of most of the celebrities off the top of your head. Do any of them really stand out for anything? I mean, seriously, are they just amazing character actors? No.
What do you mean stand out for anything other than their movies?
Talent. No, I mean like talent. Like, I mean, so think of, and maybe that's just me being a dick. I don't think I'm being a petty or jealous. I don't envy that or want that. But I look at it and I'm just, some of the people in the movies, you're just like, so this is one of the most talented people in the world. This is the guy who made it through everything because of his amazing acting gifts. Can barely speak English or any
It's
language.
changed.
Like,
because of the
wokeness.
the wokeness that's going on, man.
That's definitely part of it, but
It's all of it.
That's this isn't new though.
I know
isn't-
it's over 20 years. There's
longer,
always
yeah.
been bad actors
Yeah,
who've won stuff. It's a popularity contest, you know that.
yeah, pretty much. It's so I think most of them don't have a clue. I think some of them get into it and follow through, and I think they figure out what's what, or get invited to Epstein's Island, or whatever, and then
Can't talk about that stuff.
Really? On
It's-
YouTube?
Yeah.
But some of them must worship. Some of them must worship the beast.
I've met some people, and they don't consider him that. They consider him the light bringer. Because I mean, like if you you want to get into it, his name isn't Satan or Lucifer. Those are titles. You know, those are titles that he has. Most people don't know his actual
Beelzebub?
name. No, it's not it either. That's something entirely different.
Jack?
But maybe.
So David, can we get into that a little bit? Because
I prefer not to.
Well, you've worked.
Denied.
Okay, briefly then, the people that you've done things with that worship. What did you say they call him?
I haven't done things with them. Oh, we've just
He
met.
hasn't. He didn't come up with the name. He didn't tell us the name yet.
What do they
No, I
call
didn't.
him?
It's an excellent question.
Do you know what they call him?
Oh yeah. But so they see him as quite literally, the titles is that he is a light bringer, that he bring knowledge to man, that the fall wasn't a bad thing, it was a good thing to put man on par with God, and that he's a humanist and wants the best. Like he's our advocate, quite literally. I mean, that's the same tale that is retold in movies. Like, it's not an original thing. It's the same thing in stories and mythology. It's constantly put forth, whether it's, fire or knowledge or light or whatever. He's the good guy in the tale. He's just misunderstood.
All bad boys are.
I don't know. I'm a bad boy. I'm not misunderstood. I'm just an ass.
But you're not Satan.
No.
You're Satan-esque.
Some would say that, yes.
So what's the name?
It's an excellent question. It's in a book.
Well, you're not allowed to speak it. He's going to show up in a mirror.
I just prefer not to give attention to
All right.
things I'm not about.
Sound it out then. Can you sound it out like Ruffman?
No.
Sounds like.
I mean, it takes a little research. It's not hard. If people want to Google it, that's their personal choice. Right. Again, I don't give attention.
But he comes with so many different names.
Gary.
There it is. It's Gary.
Gary Barlow.
Very close.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre, but people really believe it. I mean, they're devout.
But you mentioned about the people that you've met that have almost worshipped this to ask for things, and you said that they looked emaciated, just everything drawn out of them completely.
That's definitely how I see them.
Do they know what they're
doing?
Do they know what they're asking for? Like, I think what I'm saying there is, could they think that they are doing praying?
They're doing
to
their
something?
Lord's work. I mean,
So
that's it. It's the hard thing, I think, for a lot of people to grasp is you got the people that are the new woke religion, new age people, and I mean, hey, that's cool, man. I'm genuinely not knocking you for whatever you think or believe, but it's misunderstood. He's this or that, or I go to the Church of Satan. It's all just make believe. It's like, is it? Like, you're in there doing rituals, man, and they're like, nah, it's just a mockery. It's a mockery with you and your friends that you attend twice a month. Maybe you should sit back and think about what mockery is. Like, that's dedicated to mocking. There's a difference between that and people in like, I don't know, other things that it's just uncomfortable.
Remind me never to ever to pray to anybody that. I mean, I don't pray anyway, and I don't think I ever have. Actually, probably have, but just not. Like, I've never gone and got down on my knees and asked for something. I've kind of like done it. We talk about that conscious thought where you speak in your head. That's when I've kind of done it. When I've asked for something, almost I was like, oh, please, make this person be all right or whatever. Like, but it's almost like I'm saying it to myself. I don't think I've ever sat down and prayed for something.
So on this topic, it's an interesting one to an extent. There was my brain is not firing on all cylinders tonight. What is the name of the paranormal show? Paranormal reenactments is what they do. Like, anyway, it's one of those. There's a guy on there named Bill Vale. He's been on Coast to Coast. He's been on a few other things. He's a former NASA engineer, pilot. I believe he's also a military officer from the Navy. Super smart guy, super bright guy. Ended up kind of having not kind of, but he had something cast off to him. He was set up. The company he was working for at the time, they had this guy show up at a particular place at a particular time. And as he did, they told him very specifically, don't walk in or knock on the door till 5 o'clock. And then at 5 o'clock, just go ahead and walk in the front door. Well, he got tired of waiting, went up, knocked, opened it. And there was something similar or akin, as he described it, I believe, is to like a ritual of some kind, and a woman over two guys, a little guy and a girl. I don't know. You have to ask him, and you can, if he'll talk to you. He doesn't talk to everybody. You have to kind of pass a questionnaire first. But anyway, it was cast off to him. He went home, didn't think anything was didn't think anything of it until things started happening in the house he lived in Northern Virginia, and started seeing things. He's been on a couple different paranormal, like witness type show deals, and he's an interesting cat. I have talked to him. He ended up having several exorcisms performed on his home and on him personally. He has some very, very interesting accounts. He and I have had conversations back and forth with experiences that we've had and things that we think. And he's a pretty amenable guy and good to talk to if you can get him to talk to you. But yeah, so you're talking about a guy who's hardcore science, hardcore NASA engineer, didn't believe in any of this, suddenly has something cast and following him around. And his story is one I think you can look up. I think Paranormal Witness is what it's called. Paranormal Witness. You can look up his story. You can look him up on Coast to Coast. You can find him on Facebook. Whether he accepts your friend request or responds to you, I can't help you there. I'd love to get him on your show, Ollie. I tried, but
yeah, I've seen you.
Yeah, we talked about it, and he was like, "No, I just don't do that anymore." He did like one last Coast to Coast, and he's like, "Too many people from Cookeville, Tennessee, come out and harass him, and he's just not down to deal with that shit." He's just a good old retired guy, still very logical, very scientific in his approach, and that's kind of how we've had a lot of conversations about this darker subject that we kind of are tiptoeing around. I would point people with further inquiry to him. He actually went through like with an exorcism and became like I believe it was a authenticated demonologist by the Catholic Church, even though he is not Catholic. Yeah, he's into. He approached it like he would physics or getting a master's degree. He just applied to it, learned the logic, and went with it. He's
so
an
when
interesting cat.
When it comes to the paranormal, do you think that more people, and this goes for everybody, that work at places like NASA and what have you, actually do, the big scientists and what have you, actually do look into this? Because I've always been at the conclusion that no, they don't. It's all the balls deep in science. None of the they would call bullshit. The rubbish. But
I do have an
am I
answer to
wrong?
that.
Am I wrong about that?
You are. So those things I sent you, don't show them that I sent you and your boy to play with. So my business partner, who I'm ventured in fact, that's who I was dealing with earlier today. That's why I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it on time or not. That ended quickly enough. But he is a NASA contractor. And he actually designed some of the stuff that just went up on the International Space Station to like help with their oxygen recycle. He redesigned and rebuilt it using their state-of-the-art 3D printing system. I think I sent you even the article on that. Yeah, it was, I mean, it's a big deal in the nerd world, but so him and his friends, dude, I've been to several beer fests with those guys, and I keep like this side of my life totally separate from everyone else. Why it's blocked out. Like it doesn't come up. And he's aware. That fucker threw me under the bus immediately. And all of a sudden, all the dudes there started popping off what they think it is. Is it multidimensional? Is it an energy being? Did it come before us? Is it the next state of evolution that we hope to be that already happened because of the 13 billion years and 4 billion on the planet? Like, yeah, man. I think when they're sitting around making stuff and they're just bored out of their mind, they just start going into the bizarre. And they're a bunch of really smart guys. So the stuff they come up with is great, but they're also hesitant to talk about it because everyone's like, well, you're a NASA engineer. You shouldn't be. Yeah, you should. It's something unknown, and a scientific mind should want to chase down unknown things, I would think.
And that I can't get out of my head what Lee said about. I think he's gone for a drink or to the toilet. About it being something that we've always known about, like maybe this at some point was a predator. Or was it you that said it was a predator, Rich? It was Lee. Yeah, that this thing. It wasn't me. This thing was whatever it is something that maybe we knew about, maybe we did see all the time. Maybe some of the paintings on caves of shadow figures is not just because they couldn't color it in and they could only use charcoal because they didn't have any colors, but maybe they were actual shadow figures. Maybe maybe these things that we depict as aliens, as greys, is this predator that has been, we've always been aware of and always been very terrified of.
I mean, maybe they knew just as much as we know now. There's some dark thing that we see. Only back then people were more akin, I think, maybe to believe each other. I mean, I say that, but I mean, humans are pretty quick to call bullshit on each other throughout history. I can't imagine it's any different then than it was now, but maybe they did have some secret knowledge, or maybe they knew just as little as we know now, and it was just as baffling, only they had the good sense to stay in their cave and not fuck with it. Whereas we like to go try and take pictures with it and get a selfie.
I wouldn't, if I could get some evidence, I'd risk a selfie.
I don't think it's ever going to come, man. I think it's the nature of the phenomenon. It's not going to give it up. It's just not.
So none of these top guys know what it is?
Oh, the NASA guys I've talked to? Oh, they don't know anything, man. No, they're nuts and bolts builder guys. Like if there's a division of NASA dedicated to that, I've never met anyone that worked there. So the interesting thing to say that is, I know guys that work at security facilities like Area 51. The security that's provided out there isn't government; it's actually private contractors. I know those guys. I've hung out with. I've done training courses with those guys. I've put a lot of rounds down range with those guys. In fact, one of those guys pointed me to a YouTube video, and he's like, "Oh, that's me." It was some UFO hunters that had parked out there, and their truck was driving up and down the road all night. And the people on the film were like, "They're harassing us." And he's like, "Nah, man, we just got the new Raptor F-150s in." And I was just like having a great time because I'd been driving in circles for 2 weeks because of the rotation that they do. And he's like, that was just fucking fun. It's like every time we get to see someone, it's a break in the day. He's like, looking at people looking at us is our best part of the day. He's like, if we actually get to stop someone, he's like, that's great. Because otherwise they just sit in the truck and talk to each other. Like that's what they're doing. Anyway, it's a DOE facility that's shared with Air Force, which isn't classified. I mean, that's knowledge if you just look at it. It's the same contract that works at all the DOE sites.
Rich, do you feel like we are not going to get any further with the paranormal the same as you do with you? Are you as frustrated with the paranormal subjects as you are with ufology? I know sometimes it comes hand in hand.
No, and I'll tell you why. Because ghosts, spirits, and things of that nature, to me, it's not the same because aliens are beings while those are, energy or whatever, as far as we know. I really, that's the way I look at it. Like, aliens could actually change the world. Ghosts can't. So I think if, like, aliens could be hybrid human aliens and they're actually in our government and they run the world, while ghosts, they're just spies, I think, for the aliens. Maybe that's what they are. They're just, maybe it's the alien beings, the hybrids, that are sending their thing out and checking out every person on the planet. Who knows? But aliens have more meaning than ghosts, for the world. Personally, I think it's about the same, your experience.
My wife had said something one time, and I think she heard it somewhere. Because I think I've heard it somewhere else as well. And she asked, just like, did you ever think that the aliens or the lights in the skies are here to study the paranormal activity and not the humans. That's why they ignore us.
That's great.
And she's like, that's why they're always around all these hot spots. Like, they don't give a shit about us. They want to know what's going on. That's something fascinating to them. And they just know exactly what we are. And they're like, no, they're just talking chimps. Who gives a shit? What's going on over here?
That's beautiful, man. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I love new thoughts like that.
Lee's just messaged his little boy's been sick, so he's just saying to him. So
his boy's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What happened to your shirt?
Oh, wait, you know when I was doing the
You're giving milk again.
Yeah, it's my nipple. My
third nipple.
Yeah, when I was doing my Mark Zuckerberg impression, I kind of I drooled.
That's a very good Zuckerberg impression, then.
It was.
I like that dedication to accuracy. I'm pretty sure he does the same thing.
Total method actor.
So,
Rich, can I ask you a question?
Oh, yeah.
What is the strangest paranormal phenomenon that you've personally encountered?
The ball of light that came through the window when me and my wife were in bed sleeping.
I haven't heard that story.
Yep. What's
It's
the
a good
name
story.
What's that Satan name again?
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I was asking, what's that name of Satan again? I was joking that I'll give you that story for that name.
Yeah, I know. I was intentionally being.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah, we can't see each other. Well, you know, it was around 11:45 at night. We were sleeping, and the dog woke us up, woke me up first, and like that. And my wife goes, "Somebody in the backyard," because it looked like a flashlight was walking through. You know, we had 3 bay windows, you could call them, in the bedroom just off to the front. And the left window, which had a tree in front of it, you could see something in the backyard. And it kept getting closer. And next thing we know, it came through the window, like through the tree and into the house. And it's a ball of light. And it's sitting there, it looks at us, and it sounded like electricity. Just kind of like I don't know, like if you were to rip your socks apart and static electricity, you know that noise? Bzzz, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And when you look at it, it was bright, but it didn't hurt your eyes. And I just remembered something after telling the story for the 100th time, that the light, when it went on to the walls, was different colors, but when you looked at it, it was a white light. So that was interesting. I remembered that just out of nowhere. But it came through, and my wife, you know, she's getting nervous. The dog's just growling at it, and I'm sitting there going, what do I do? What should I do? I'm thinking, do I call 911? I'm thinking, do I get my gun? But everything happened so fast. It went into the bathroom. It stopped at the mirror. It kind of looked like it looked at itself. Then it went into the closet. And you can see the lights disappearing through the clothes. It came back out, looked at the mirror again, and it looked like it was going to leave, and then it stops. And then it looked like it turned and looked at me and my wife. And we look at each other, we look at it, and the dog's sitting there now barking at it. And I think it spooked it a little bit, and then it went right out the window. Now, when it went out the window, it went through the tree, which this is interesting to me, and I don't know what happened to this tree. But I told my wife, because I left for work and everything, and I told her, the landscaper, I saw the landscaper's truck out when I went to go to work, and I said, do not tell him to remove that tree, because half of the tree had died, the half that it went through. And I said, tell the landscaper not to remove the tree. So my wife told him, and he swore he didn't remove it. But when I got home from work, and she was already at work, because I worked different hours, the tree was gone. And I told my wife, I go, I told you to tell him to not take the tree out. Now, how am I supposed to do any research on this stuff? And she's like, let me call him. And she called him up on three-way, and I was listening in.
With the tree back.
And he said, I no take tree, I swear to God. He's been doing landscaping for her. It was her house, and now I live there for 10 years. So very good relationship with this guy. And he didn't lie. He says, I swear to you, nobody would take the tree down. We would have charged you for it. So somebody took the tree. And that's one of the weird things that happened at that that house too, other than people trying to break in, being watched, being followed, my neighbor chasing two guys in plain clothes away that were trying to get into my office. So it was a weird place, man. But that ball of light to this day is the strangest thing that has ever happened. Nothing comes close to it, other than my dog's bowl moving on its own. I saw it move 6 inches right in front of my face. And also the little girl that I saw. Well, I guess there's a few, aren't there? Hey, man, that's what I said. I live in this paranormal world. I can't help it. A little girl who was being abused by her mother, I guess, or her parents.
What's
Strange
this, Rich?
story. Huh?
What's this about the little girl?
Yeah, I'm very curious.
It's a paranormal show, so...
I'll tell you the name after the show, Rich.
No, I don't want to know anymore. I'm joking. I'm just being it. All right. Well, there's two little girls, but I think it's the same girl. When where I grew up in New York, we had a basement, and in the basement there was a basin, like a sink, that you could put a small child in and take a bath, or a dog, or do your laundry, whatever. Even cook crabs in it, we used to. But I seen this girl, and Ollie, I told you about this girl that was in the basement when I went down there, and when I was a kid, and saw her and ran up the stairs screaming. But when I moved in with my wife, this is the same house with the ball of light that came in through the window. I was sleeping. I've only just moved in a few days, and I'm sleeping on my right side, and there was a clock that was already on the nightstand. And I just woke up, and for no reason. It said 3:05. Yeah, I remember the time because I saw a lady's head looking at me. Pretty good-looking woman with long brown flowing hair. And in my mind, and this all happened within seconds, like it was just a thought. I mean, the whole event lasted 2 seconds, but as I tell it, it takes 2 minutes. Well, anyway, I have a thought in my mind immediately as I see this head to reach out and see what it feels like. And before I could finish the thought, before I just started to move, I made the first move to go reach out. The head went right at me, and it went right through me, and I screamed and felt every emotion and started crying. Like, I was laughing and crying, and I was angry, and I felt all these emotions. My wife woke up. She goes, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And I'm like, and she looks at me and she goes, "What happened?" And she laughs, and I'm like, "I don't know." I go, "You won't believe it if I told you." And she's right. I won't believe you, she said. "You're right."
That's almost like when you go to stroke a cat. You know, when it hisses at you.
But she morphed into Medusa, like that kind of thing. Her hair looked like it turned into snakes, and her face got all white, and her teeth got scary and old, and she looked like she just aged as she moved from the clock to me. It was pretty freaking cool, to be honest with you. I'm glad I had the experience because, who has that? I do. I don't know if it was because about the one thing, the other scary thing, I'll be in your head before you wake up. Yep. Same thing. I mean, I was laying on my side, and I'm about to lift my head up, and I hear, "I'll be in your head before you wake up." And I screamed a little bit and said, "What the?" And I felt the breath on my ear. It was there. Somebody was there. I'm telling you, to this day, it felt like somebody was there. I felt the breath, and same thing I said almost verbatim to my wife. She's like, "What's going on?" And I said, "You wouldn't believe it if I whatever, told you." And I told her, and she goes, "Yeah, you're right. I don't believe you." And I'm like, "Deja vu." She's like, "Yeah." And that was weird because that was only a few nights after I saw what looked to be an alien with a laser beam at the end of my bed, shooting it in my ear. And I woke up from the pain, and I opened my eyes, and I see on the headboard like this light. And I'm like, and I hear this high-pitched sound. It was like, it was mechanical, let's just say that. And it was like a whistle mechanical. I can't explain it. Never heard anything like it, but it hurt my ear. And I turned around to see where this light was coming from that was bouncing off me and hitting the headboard. And I turn around and I see a bluish white beam retracting into the hand of an alien being at the end of the bed. And it was cool because as the light was retracting, I saw the skin of it light up even more because the tip of this thing was a little brighter than the actual beam, and it lit it up a little brighter, and I was able to see it kind of look like that paint that can change color when you walk around it and the sunlight hits it a certain way. That's exactly what it looked like.
Like two-toned?
Like every tone. There was yellow, red, green, blue. The main colors were green and blue. That were the main colors. And then everything else, you could just see a tinge of it. It was kind of cool. It happened in, split second. But in slow motion in my mind. It's amazing that I remembered it.
It's always slow motion, isn't it, when it comes to this sort of stuff?
It is when you tell the story. But those
Fired
are
up
the
synapses.
Those are the yeah. Those are my stories. A couple of them.
I mean, yeah, you've definitely led what I would say a more paranormal life than most.
But there was from I would say 15 to 37, nothing. When I met my wife and I moved in with my wife, that's when things started going. And when she and I separated in 2010, everything stopped. I always said it's her. She's my beacon. She's the one, not me, her. I was just
Baby.
I don't know, what do you call it, byproduct of her experiences that were bouncing off into my head. I don't know. I don't know, man. You know how people like Greer and they say they communicate with aliens and all this shit. Look, I tried it for a very long time, 4 years straight, almost every day, every single day. I'm telling you now, and I've said it on my own show, I don't care if people want to laugh at me, but I did. I went out to this park I lived at midnight almost every night after my show ended, and I'd listen to my friend's show, take off the headphones, sit down with Angus, my dog, put a blanket out, and sometimes fall asleep, and I would tie him to my leg just so he wouldn't get away in case I fell asleep. And I tried to contact aliens, and it never happened. Now, I say it never happened, but a year after doing that, I had the I'll be in your head experience and the alien with the thing. And also the grass circles that were in front of my house across the street in the fairway, which I still have the photos of, photos of 3 perfect circles. So something was going on. But I never I never had a communication with any aliens, and I'm really upset at that. And when I do meet Greer again and talk to him, I'm going to say, look, your shit ain't working. You got to help me out, man. I need to talk to somebody on the other side.
Did you pay him the $14,000?
I paid $14.
That's why it's not working. 14,000.
Oh, I
Can't get
had
the discounted
point.
version. Nah, yeah. You got to move it way to the right.
I'm so
That's
stupid.
Everything
God.
that's wrong. Got you there.
You know what?
Happens
I
to a
don't
lot of
need
people.
this shit anymore.
Happens to
Get
a
it. See you guys later. How do I get out of here? But, it's not right, man. It's not right that they lie about talking to aliens.
No, I totally agree. It's not.
I want to know how. I bought the stupid handbook, $14, and I did everything. Look, in that book, it's so lame. They give you a whole repeat. It repeats everything, different words. Every chapter is the same but different. And Greer says, if it doesn't happen, if you don't talk to aliens after 5 or 6 times, I'd be surprised. But after, you may not have any alien experience the first 2 or 3 times. It may take 5 or 6. Like 5 or 6, like why not 3 or 4? I mean, so I think when you get to number 4 and it doesn't happen, you feel stupid, so you give up.
So
It sounds like a faith healer.
it sounds like what, David?
Sounds like a faith healer.
Yeah.
You guys like, I'm going to cure you. It's like, well, I didn't get cured. Well, you clearly don't believe hard enough. Put more money in the plate and we'll try again.
That's it. I had the decimal point for $14, 14,000. I'm so stupid.
Well, David, you got me on to Ray Hernandez. Ray Hernandez is coming on next week on the 16th.
He's an
Again,
interesting cat.
and when Rich was speaking about Guerrilla and his app or whatever Guerrilla's telling you how to find aliens or see UFOs up in the sky, Ray, it was Ray that put you onto seeing the lights in the sky. Am I right by that?
Yeah. So most of my studies in my life, or at least in this, like I'm not really into aliens. I think it's probably obvious. I'm fairly ignorant of the subject. I'm more into paranormal, the bizarre nature of the phenomenon, which I think is a good term for it. And I just kind of ran aground of everything that I thought was credible that I could look at here. And what really turned me on to it, again, I was watching a David Blighty's talk, and one of the ones where I didn't know that he was a member of MUFON, and he was talking about, again, his books, and you should find out about Skinwalker Ranch and other places. He listed a couple others, and read that book, then read my book, and it'll make more sense. And during that, he had kind of hinted that the phenomenon was connected. And so I decided, hey, if these people are seeing lights in the sky or aliens, maybe I'll go to a alien convention, whatever. Why not? I've been to weirder shit. So I bought a VIP pass, and so I didn't want to listen to anyone talk. I wanted to talk to them. And usually how you do that is you pay money. So I paid money to do that. And I just hung out in the green room all day and talked to the different people as they came. And most of them are just incredibly full of shit or ego or selling their whatever. I'm Betty Hill's second cousin's mother's best friend, third removed, who lived down the street. That kind of thing. And Ray was the only one who kind of had his, like, I couldn't figure out why he was there with all these other people, to be honest. But yeah. And he had the thing, and I asked him what his shtick was, and I kind of just laid it out. I was like, listen, I'm not going to anyone's talk for hours. I just want to talk to you and get actual answers. And that's what he had said was, people who have these encounters, it's a one-off. Typically what you find out is they have a paranormal life. And so I opened up, I kind of laid out about my paranormal life and things that had happened to me and questions that I have. And he doesn't have any answers, obviously. And he said, did you ever think about going out and just looking at the night sky and see what happens? And I was like, no, I mean, I've never done that. And so I did. I went outside and sat out there, and I saw some lights move, and I went back in, grabbed some of my night vision because I'm that guy, and clicked it on and had my buddies come out with their night vision, and we all had a bunch of beers, and then we have some pretty powerful lasers and IR lasers, as well as green lasers.
Yeah, I've seen some of your equipment.
Yeah, well, those are for different purposes, but they're powerful as shit. So we just fire up, and we got one of them to blink back at us, stop, turn around, do things. Now, at the same time, I live near a government research area. So I don't know what I saw. I mean, the reality is I don't go out looking for that anymore because I don't have any more answers. It's just more questions. It's a confirmation that somehow these things are linked. And that's kind of when my wife threw out, maybe they're studying the paranormal. So they find people who live paranormal lives and watch for it to happen to them.
So when it comes to do you ever feel like you're getting any closer to the answers?
Fuck no. If anything, I'm getting further away. I feel like I'm more in the weeds now at this point in my life than I was when I was 6 years old watching weird shit walk down the hallway, or 5 years old. Yeah, like I think I'm infinitely further away. I think that honestly, to this point, I'm kind of the pursuit of information is pointless and bizarre. I don't understand myself. I don't understand my interaction with it. I went to a ghost, and I like to avoid ghost hunts because weird shit happens when I go on them. The ghost hunters love it. I feel tired for 3 or 4 days, like I had my ass kicked, and I'm glad they had a great.
Is this the one you sent me the pictures of?
Yeah, so this is the one I went to recently, and they loved it. I mean, they're like, "Hey, man, we would love for you to come back," and I was like, "Nah, man, you left me in the cold room where they kept the dead bodies for like 45 minutes. I'm fucking good." I was supposed to be 5, and apparently everyone was having such a good time with balls rolling across the floor, answers, light flickering, and smells that they're like, "Hey, let's just leave that guy in there because something's working." And then, I'm trying not to fall asleep as I drive home because I'm just spent. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Do you find does it physically make you feel exhausted then when you have these?
So that was the first time in my life I'd ever really opened up like that, because I kind of like, again, I mean, I don't have any answers, man. I don't know what's going on, but I'd kind of reconciled myself that I'm going to be open to this situation, and if there's some kind of tuning fork energy or whatever, I'm going to comply. That was the thought process I went in with. And I just kind of if I say pumped it out, it sounds like I'm a douchebag, but kind of. I mean, I kind of am a douchebag. So, yeah.
I'm the douchebag.
I don't know. I'm a pretty big douchebag.
Maybe you're just a douche.
Maybe I'm just a nozzle. I could live with that. I'm just the nozzle. Yeah.
All
but
right.
That's a good way to be reincarnated. Yeah, so that and things went crazy, and I've played around with that idea before, but that was the first time I'd fully committed. And now this building had 3 or 4 floors. I believe it had 3. And apparently activity was going off on all 3 floors because they like moved the hunt from floor to floor throughout. And they're good. They're doing their thing. And I was there on a, believe it or not, a semi-business professional reason for being there, which I'll stay away from. But yeah, that was like, even the people I went with who are not believers at all, who are there for business as well, they were like driving her home. She's like, "I saw that fucking ball roll across the floor. I heard a voice come out of the thing. I smelled, pipe smoke. There were lights going down the hallway." She's freaked out. Like, this is not a thing. And the next thing you know, as we're driving there, she's like, "When I was X years old, I had this encounter." Like, and I'm just like, "Stop talking to me. I just want to get home. It's a long fucking drive. You're getting really yappy, Yeah, I'm very tired right now. When I've dealt with people in negative situations in their house and helped to rid that house of things, it was a very similar feeling where I was just exhausted, immediately exhausted.
I don't know if Rich has heard about that. I know we spoke about that in the very first interview, but so you for quite a long time you used to go out and help people.
No, that makes it sound like a Superman thing. No, man, it was like when I got ordained when I was fairly young, and the particular church and organization I was with was non-denominational, but they were the pastor in the church itself was involved in helping people with issues like that. Because it's interesting when people have issues like that and they go around. Most churches are like, "Well, I ain't got nothing for you. We'll pray for you. Come to the Baptist breakfast, bring something." That's what they got. Yeah, they don't know what to do. So our church did a lot of that kind of stuff, and it was a unique experience for me, and I seemed to be pretty well fit to it. And I had some strange encounters, but throughout my life, like, I would be working at a job and randomly, one night, randomly, this guy's telling me that something's in his kid's room and it's not letting his kid sleep. And he thought his kid was just lying and having nightmares or whatever. But he's like, "I saw it. There's something in there. I don't know what to do." So we're all sleeping in one bedroom. And I was like, "You live pretty close to here. Let's stop by." And, I'll go through and do a thing. And he's like, "Oh, that's great." And I was like, "Awesome. I'm going to sleep in the truck. You get to do all the work tonight." It was a long time ago, but Yeah, I mean, randomly. I started a paranormal support group for people who had encounters and didn't know what to do, and I had some interesting people show up. People I still keep in touch with, and some I don't. Some who I think wanted help but didn't want to give it up. I don't know. It's a different situation. But yeah. So that's more akin. Again, I could lay out a host of things, and it sounds like, wow, that's a lot. But over the course of my life, it is not. It is sporadic at best.
That's why I say I don't like talking about it, because I know how much stuff has happened over the years. Yeah. And it's not, like I said, from 15 to 37, nothing. And then there's a lot before and a lot after. But it really isn't a lot if you really think about it. Out of thousands of days, and having 10 experiences isn't a lot.
It isn't, no. And so I went with a friend of mine when he was looking for homes, because when I was younger, I had a lot of experience in those kinds of trades, and I was helping him look at a house, and we walked into a house that clearly had something in it. 100%. Like, the realtor lady knew she didn't want to go inside, and we're looking around. I told dudes, we need to leave. Like, there's something in here. And he kind of got woozy, and I was like, all right. And I grabbed him by the arm, pulled him back outside. I was like, this isn't the house for you. It's not the house for anyone. Fuck that place. And he's like, well, you should do something, because he's aware. And I was like, why? It's not my problem. I don't live there. I'm not buying this fucking place. That's whoever moves there's problem. Let them deal with it. So that's generally the attitude I hold. So I'm not a benevolent person that's out being a superhero on TV. It's things happen. Maybe someone floats into my sphere of influence that I can help, and I will. Yeah. But more often than not, dude, it's not my fucking problem. I keep my head down and roll on.
But from your experience, because you just said then your friend said, we need to do something. You need to do something. What can this? You said we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Why? What can this? Whatever it is, these entities, what can they do?
Hook in, hold on, follow you home, ride you like a battery. Fuck with your head, fuck with your life, your health, your sanity. Worse than that, it's not so much messing with your head, it's messing with the heads of people around you, because as they break down, they make your life hell. Because typically, if you're someone that has had paranormal encounters, you are aware, right? Like, something's going on. All right, I need to keep this shit together. I need to, get this out. But if it starts messing with the people in your life that don't know, and you're the one helping spread it around, helping it hitchhike to the next place, as their mental health breaks down, your emotions break down, because you're invested in this person. It's kind of like, it's guerrilla warfare, man. If I want to take down a bigger opponent, I don't go head on to the opponent. No. I go to all the smaller outposts. I go to his supply line. I go to the farm where he gets his food, I take a shit in his water supply. I don't go for the bigger enemy.
So these things hold on to us like batteries, but they don't necessarily attack us physically. They attack us mentally.
Yeah, basically. I mean, if you get worn down enough, you become susceptible. It's I kind of got a rant about. I don't know. I think this would get you in trouble on YouTube. I'll just let it go. But I have my own theory on the shit that goes on that should not in the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay, yeah. That probably would get me in trouble.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that break people down who would normally not be susceptible. And you're like, you're just behaving strangely. It's a side effect. And then if you've dealt in any of these strange things, you're like, yeah, it's a fucking side effect, but you're not addressing the actual issue. Because there's a lot of strong-willed people who just kind of move through life, ignore it, and go through, and they live their life, and they're fine. Very few people are tuned or sensitive, and most of them tend to congregate together or find each other, so it always seems like there's more than there are. But you compare like the people who go to a paranormal help meeting versus the population of the city they live in, dude, it's nothing. What are we at, 4 places out?
What are your credentials for doing what you do? Like, do you have a degree?
I was ordained. That was it.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I was ordained when I was young.
But you have been having experiences since you were young.
Correct. That's why I thought going into that would be an excellent pursuit.
Wow.
And the thing is, I didn't learn anything that I didn't already know. In fact, when I was dealing with the pastor, I knew shit that he was like, what? I was like, dude, it's just force your will on the situation. He's like, but But I was like, no, man, ritual is replacement of faith. Either you got it or you don't. If you don't got it, you're going to get fucked up, which is exactly what happened when the little girl let's say little girl, she was a teenager, was suffering a case of possession, and she fucked him up because he's going through ritual without faith.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, dude, he got manhandled. Yeah.
That's what happened to me.
Is that
Because I don't believe it. Giddy up.
Is that the girl that chucked him over a bench?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
he's a large man.
And she was.
She was like a buck 10. Yeah,
Oof.
like 5'1". He's like my height, probably 340, 350. I mean, he had one too many cheeseburgers. But that's a lot of, like, human weight, if you've ever moved it, is damn hard. And she chucked him like he would have thrown her.
Wow.
You know?
It
was wild.
He was trying to calm her down.
I think he was just scared shitless at that point. I mean, I was scared shitless. I'm pretty sure I did shit myself at that point. And it's not like, we're going to be brave. It's like something screaming in a growling voice that made claws of its hand and just threw a man, and now it's eyeballing you, and you're like, oh shit, I think I'm going to lose. It's not the power will carry me through. It's like, I think I'm going to get my ass kicked.
For anybody in the audience, this what we're talking about now is what we spoke about on the first time you ever came on the show about the exorcism that you helped out with.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah.
And so this is a teenage girl that chucked a grown heavy man over a bench.
He's a lard ass. Yeah, he's still a lard ass. I think he's bigger. But she chucked him.
And what happened to her now?
I don't know where she is or whatever happened to her. I didn't keep up with her. I don't keep up with him.
You was very young at the time.
Oh yeah, I was 16, 17. It was right before my ordination.
Wow, that must have been something. I mean, when you speak about people having experiences with and seeing things and it not phasing them, it makes me think about my father, because when he was a young boy, a school bus, an old lady, it almost sounds comical, but it's not. It's quite hideous. An old lady fell into the street, and the bus ran over, and her head literally came off. My God! My father witnessed that.
Yeah,
he's had very strange experiences in his life, of a lot of deja vus. Where at one point in the schoolyard, is this girl called Ang Pugachev, and he said to his friend, they were doing like running around in circles. He said she's gonna fall and flat on her face when she goes past this next time. Sure enough, she did. She fell flat on her face, bust all her nose up. When he was at sea, I've already told you about the UFO, but once there was a ferry that had sunk, and all the bodies they came to the side of the ship. My dad had to pull all of them out with his friends, and they were bloated up, all these dead bodies on the ship. And he said it never phased him whatsoever. The dead has never. It's like he's seen ghosts in all our houses, mainly animal ghosts, dogs, which sounds crazy. I don't know if I've told you about the Labrador that my dad was stroking.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, and then my mum
for
was
me,
upstairs.
but yeah, it's a good story.
My mum was upstairs, and she said, "Brandy, get out of the bathroom," because she just mopped all the floor or something like that. And my dad's like looks down, and there's nothing there, but he's had this dog stroking it next to him, and my mum said all his hairs were on end on his arm when he went upstairs and told her the story. But my father, the dead do not faze him whatsoever. Like he could just, somebody could drop dead in front of him, and I don't think that man would have any emotion whatsoever.
It's just meat. It's just meat, bro. Just meat.
It's odd. It's odd that he wouldn't have he doesn't have any emotion for it, but he sees these strange things and either that or he's just bullshitting me about these stories that he keeps telling me. Maybe one day he's just going to say, "You're the reason that you're doing this show. I made it all up."
Do you really think he's bullshitting you though?
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think he's. I don't think he's bullshitting me, but he's. He's also not a massive supporter when it comes to the subjects. He's a bit like you, Rich. He says it's a load of shit.
Hey, I say it is. I say people are a load of shit, but I think the experiences are real. Not to them. See, that's why I don't like talking about my own experiences. I'd rather hear other people's, because I think I can tell if they've really had an experience or not just by listening to their story. I don't know, David, do you feel that way too? David, am I right? Did I say your name wrong?
I think
It's
if someone
David, right?
tells a lie enough times, like, call me El Dave, or you can call me President Camacho.
Okay.
Or just Camacho.
But
Am I
don't
not
you
coming
get the
through?
feeling you can tell who's telling you the truth or who's lying? I mean, it's because I have the show and I talk to a lot of people on the internet. I don't know what your involvement is, but do you ever have that enough involvement you could talk to enough people to tell who's lying?
I think you stick a gun in someone's face enough times, you can tell the ring of truth. And you can recognize it in others. I think that's what happens. And that's a big part of my life. So I like to think I'm pretty good at being able to tell when someone's telling the truth. But then again, I've met some cold-blooded dudes who ain't got no problem lying, man.
Yeah.
They ain't got no issues. They don't care. But when you put people in extreme circumstances under extreme pressure, yeah. And once you get accustomed to hearing it, kind of like I think you made a connection with your father being a cop, right? Some cops, not all cops, some cops are very good at telling out the truth because they hear enough bullshit. When something sounds counter to bullshit, like, oh, that must be the truth. You deal with people in extreme situations, or you are the one putting them in that extreme situation and demanding whatever. You suddenly get a ring of truth, and then you can recognize it when you hear it other places. But again, I talked to Travis Walton. I wouldn't have called him a liar. I call him an asshole. I mean, the guy was such a douchebag, like a legitimate one. But he didn't strike me as a liar, yet I saw that guy's presentation. I was like, well, shit, that's hard to knock. Maybe he's just told it enough times. Maybe he got me. Definitely not infallible.
As you're telling that story, I had a little picture show up of a bow and arrow, and somebody shooting the arrow and hitting like a trap door. Isn't that weird? Does that relate to anything you were telling me?
Only what I do professionally, Rich. Only what I do professionally.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It's not important.
Okay.
But
so what I just told you makes sense?
Yeah, it does actually.
So what I just told you makes sense?
yeah, in a way.
That's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
So be careful out there.
I've not said anything, Dave.
Yeah.
That's all.
He never has, honest to God.
That's his. What is it? What did you call it, Rich? Your what is it you did for my wife?
The tarot card reading?
Yeah.
Past, present, future, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So you're saying just out of the blue, I had that vision and it relates to you 100%.
An arrow hitting a trap door?
Like I see I don't see who, but I see it flying through the air and like a door is closing, like a trap door. I can't tell. The angle's weird. And then it sticks into the door as the door is closing. Kind of like everything in a movie.
I think the question comes, am I the one shooting the arrow or the one in the trap door?
No, you're the one getting away from the arrow.
Wow,
But-
so that will be unusual.
But it's relatable to you, though, right? That could be something in your life.
If I'm the one shooting the arrow.
Okay, well, I don't know who is, to be honest. So if you're
I
shooting
know. No, I mean, it does. Professionally, I deal in violence, I think is a good way to put it.
So you're a hunter. So why didn't I say a
no.
rifle? Or
I don't actually hunt with a bow and arrow, and bows require skill, and what I do requires a. It'll sound like boasting, and it makes me feel uncomfortable, but what I do requires a extreme level of skill.
So you've got a certain set of skills.
It's funny you say that. I actually do.
Liam Neeson. So was that Liam Neeson impression?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I love that movie and I hate it at the same time because, like when I go places with my wife, she's her number one rule is don't talk. All right, don't talk about what you do. Don't don't do anything. It just makes people uncomfortable. Nobody wants to know. So I have two. Well, actually, I have three topics. One, I don't talk about supernatural, paranormal. I don't talk about my childhood, and I do not talk about what I do. Which does not give me a lot to talk to people about.
Well, that sucks. I guess you can't if it's, not everybody can accept it. Is that why?
It makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You're an interesting fellow. Yeah.
I've sent Ollie some videos. Would you say that at a dinner conversation would go well with most people?
Well, no, I don't think it'd go. I don't think it'd do well for you either. I think you could lose a lot of. You could lose a lot.
Yeah, I could lose a lot. Yeah.
Without speaking in riddles, because it's probably just doing everybody's head in the audience. They're like, "What's going on?"
Oh, the mystery.
Yeah, the mystery. But no, I get it. Why I get it. I get the Alien Addicts in on it. It's just bullshit. But I'm not bothered. I mean, the subject. It's so frustrating because I can guarantee anybody watching this now, anybody in the chat has had something happen to them. And I know I say this a lot, but also I can guarantee that the majority of the population will just go, nah, it's just a thing, it's just a deja vu, or it's just something in the corner of my eye, or it's just coincidence. But don't we find that we are saying this far too much? We say that something's a coincidence, or something's just in the corner of my eye, or something's gone missing, or something weird has happened to somebody somebody you love, or friend, family, or whatever, or yourself personally. But sometimes we just push it away because we don't want to venture there. It's almost like we're embarrassed to. That's kind of my goal with everything I do with this channel, is just to get people to venture there, to look there, to maybe look at and ask their family about the ghost stories that had happened because they watched this show. Then they may think, I remember my grandma. If she's still alive and she's still senile, ask her. Ask for that story. Maybe something will click. Because I don't think we're ever, like you said, I don't think we're ever going to get any answers. But I think we may get that little bit closer if we all start speaking about it, and we will recognize it as a genuine thing rather than just a little bit of the woo.
Something that my wife had said earlier is maybe the whatevers are coming here to study the paranormal. Maybe they're not aliens. Maybe the aliens are interdimensional beings trying to track down the source of their dimensional invaders, and they're trying to figure out why the hell they're here or why they're coming from here. I don't know, man. I don't think we're going to get any answers. I don't think there are answers to be had. Not anything that won't make our brain run out of our nose.
So for 70 years they've been doing that. That's what bothers me. It's like, what are they doing?
What you think they could? You think they could be interested in our paranormal planet?
Maybe longer.
I know.
But surely they would have something like that. If we have something like that, maybe.
Sure.
We're just guessing.
Sure. Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows. I mean, somebody knows, but nobody knows. Not here.
So why do we do it, Rich?
I don't think anybody knows.
Why do we? Why do we come on this show, your show? Why do we just come on here and speak about these subjects constantly? And so,
stupid. It is. It's stupid. I don't know why I do it. I don't even know why I'm here. I hate it.
Self-flagellation.
Yeah, maybe.
What are we going to get out of it?
Nothing. Absolutely. We're just going to have people saying, oh, man, you're so cool. That's all we want. We just care if people think we're nice.
Oh, my wife's convinced that I do this for my own ego.
Yeah, of course. It's all ego. No experiences. I don't believe that. I always thought that I would do a show that could help people talk about their experiences. That was my original intent. You know, I would post things that I captured. Hey, 3 pounds. Skint Bob?
Skint Bob, I think he's changed that. It was Skinny Bob,
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah.
it was. But he sent me an avocado super chat. Thank you, Skint Bob.
So he saved 1 letter.
Or maybe it's somebody. Maybe it is just a Skin Bob.
There's a lot of Bobs out there.
There is a Skinny Bob.
Yeah.
That comes. Skin Bob, are you Skinny Bob?
I just like the fact that we could be on the cusp any second that aliens are existing. They may land and they've never been here before, you know, or they may just pop out of hollowed earth and just say, here we are, and rip the Band-Aid off. And this is disclosure. And the government had no idea. Nobody knew. They just, like if we went to another planet, like when we go to Mars, well, we're not announcing to them if they're there that we're coming. We just show up. They see us coming, you know, in our Yugos.
True, we would just show up, but
Yeah.
I know I always say it, but I do think we would have or should have a protocol if, you know, they're going to be intelligent, but
How do we
primitive.
know?
How
We
do we know
don't-
till we get there?
How would we warn another civilization that we're on the way? They would have to hear a signal, which they might not even have. They might not have the ability. They might not have satellites. They might not have any of the same stuff we have at all. They may still be in caves. Or, I don't know, underground, whatever.
You see,
But
if they're in caves, I don't agree with messing with them.
The odds that another civilization would have evolved the same exact time and created and invented the same technology there's no number for that. It's almost impossible. It's got to be.
Did you ever think maybe when you get I don't know, maybe when you get real loose on the weekends? If you do, I do.
I get high every show.
There you go. That maybe our universe just contains us, and this is a womb. This is a womb. We're getting ready to go somewhere else. This is a birthing chamber,
like
and
a
they're
dead
they're just the nannies. They're just the nannies coming in, checking up.
Wait a minute. So the life I'm living now, what is it? If
Preparation.
it's just
H.
HQ. So I'm just sitting here now learning and living in this body to gather the experience of what I'm really going to be doing when I get to the other planet.
Or other reality.
Or other reality. So
based outside of time.
And it's a human evolved species. It would be just like me. So I'm just an avatar, basically, learning it, living it, and hopefully I won't repeat the same things I do when I go to the next realm. You know, I won't.
Think
right?
about the elephant thing. Wouldn't it make sense if you can picture an elephant in your mind, you can hear your mind say elephant when it's just a mesh of gel and electrons, but yet you can see an image, you can hear an audible inside your head? Wouldn't it make sense if you're an avatar plugged into a meat suit that's being birthed into something more?
Hell yeah.
Wouldn't it make sense that if if our consciousness is more than what our body, like our body's a meat suit that contains it, that our senses are purposely dulled because we can't handle the full range of what we can or can't do? I don't know, man.
I don't know either. Anything's possible.
Anything, yeah.
So when I was going to my CCD club, my Catholic school classes every Wednesday till I was 13 and got communion, I asked one of the nuns, "What is heaven? What happens when you die?" Basically, is what I said. She says, "Well, you go off into heaven." And I said, "And what is heaven?" She said, "You can make it anything you want." And I actually said this. I said, "So I could have like 12 girlfriends if I wanted to?" If you want, yeah, you could have that. And I'm like, cool. So heaven can be anything we want? That sounds a little stupid to me.
I don't agree with that concept.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
That's why I was the
But I
last
don't-
class I ever went to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like. We're actually pulling my kids out of Catholic school,
Wow.
but we're sending them to a different school. But that's a different thing. But we're not. I'm not Catholic. But I don't know, man. I still go back to the womb idea. It makes sense with the multidimensional thing. Maybe we're just phasing through. Maybe we've just been birthed. Maybe this is the first step. Because right now, if you go by the way we age the planet, the 4+ billion years it is, how long have we all been alive?
I know.
A fraction, right?
Not
a
even,
fraction.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's so
this is
small.
statistically insignificant. Like, it wouldn't even rate. Like, I can't even tell you how many decimal places out we are. I'm sure. some
Even
math-
humanity
Yeah,
is just a
it's-
blink.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, like, if you get into like the other civilizations that may or may not have been here before, which I'm very into, maybe this is a womb. Maybe it just keeps getting restarted. Maybe those collapse and reset myths are real. You know, maybe so many people get it and like, they're fucking it up. All right, restart it.
Yes.
Let's hope we can get some more. It
So
works
you
out,
think-
doesn't work out, restart it again.
So you think they create a massive extinction event and then just start over?
I think I don't know, man.
I know, that's
and
what
see,
I think.
I can only think with the mind and the terms that I have.
I know.
And if I really think that the universe is just a womb for us, then
Why not?
that's an entirely different conversation. Like what comes next? Why? You know, then you start looking at like a lot of the scientists getting into multiple dimensions, realities, trying to study these things, trying to move beyond. I think they're trying to poke out of the womb before we're ready, and maybe something will slap us back.
I
Or
don't believe
maybe we're purposely insulated.
that, my friend, could be
Maybe
a
we're
possibility.
scorpions. Maybe we're scorpions in a box that can't be let out until we're ready. Maybe we have to go through the pains of death and loss. I mean, think about it. Going through the loss and pain I have in my life has made me a better person.
Fuck
Doesn't make
yeah.
everyone a better person, but it makes me. I'm far more compassionate I am today than when I was a younger man.
And that
Because I've
happens
lost
with
and
age.
I've hurt. It happens with age, yeah. And not only that, it happens with the human condition.
Right, right.
So at the end of this life, I would like to think I am a person, or maybe I will, maybe I won't be a person that's ready for that next step. You know, we're like, all right, you've suffered. The point of this isn't to be successful or have it easy. The point of it is to get out there and hurt.
Right.
Because now when you go to the next part, you'll understand it a little bit better. Pain's the best teacher, man.
so
I've been inflicted enough.
Right, I agree. So have I. I mean, people who go through death and homelessness and all that stuff have to cope with that when they're here. So how does that help them when they get to the new place? You know what I mean? Like, some people are just born into shit.
Oh yeah, I was.
So
born
why?
in shit.
What's the purpose of that? Is that just another experiment from our friends?
Maybe that's the lesson: is can you overcome it, or do you get succumbed to it?
I don't like that.
Well, I mean,
'Cause
the thing is, well, like if you breed animals, like if you breed anything for a reason, click that off. You don't breed the weakest of the litter.
Right.
They don't get to go. They don't get to pass go into the next thing.
Sad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't. It's scrawny. It's puny.
helps
It's got
them.
a temperament problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps the overall bloodline, and you get what you want going forward. Maybe that's it. I mean, I could say maybe about 1,000 things. I have no answers. I know nothing. I'm just a douchebag existing in a world trying to do the best I can.
So many things make sense, but when you add paranormal and ghosts or aliens, it fills in the blanks.
Yeah.
And you know, so to me that's something that makes sense, which may ring true, but is there something I just haven't thought of yet that also rings true? And
Absolutely.
you know, but I got to get going. Excuse me.
I know that the show's coming to an end now anyway.
Oh, okay.
Boys. So yeah, because I could speak about this subject for hours and hours
I know.
on end, but we'd never get. We'll go again, probably in a few days. You know,
Friday?
And guys, probably Friday. Yeah, more likely. I don't know what I'm going to do Friday yet. I don't know what the show's going to be. I'll be watching your GUFON tonight, Rich. Tomorrow morning to get some
Yeah.
inspiration. What's the show about?
Tonight's show is really just a coincidence. I show 3 aliens heads with the human bodies on the thumbnail, and they're sitting with the American flag right there behind them or somewhere. And I said, they run everything. And I'm going to go into different fabrics of society and try to figure out if they're really, pulling the strings.
Beautiful.
But it's an old thought. But, huh?
No, I was just going to say, the links are below if anybody's just joined this channel, and because I've seen a couple of new faces pop into the chat. So unless they're probably goofonians, let's face it, Rich. Everybody seems to be a goofonian these days.
I don't know about
that. But if you're not, head over tonight because the show's going to be on in 2 hours, is it, Rich?
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And you said to me, I'm going to have a little nap after your show, Ollie.
I am so tired. It's not even funny.
So, if you just hold on for 2, Rich.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Because I think David might tell you the name at the end of the show.
No, I said he doesn't have to.
David, thank you so much for joining us again. It has been a pleasure as always. I really appreciate it.
It's Dwayne Elizondo, Mountain Dew Comanche.
Come on.
I don't know why I keep calling him David.
Habit.
I apologize. Guys,
Accepted.
Everybody in the chat, all the supporters of the channel, share the channel out, spread the love. Say, if you want to see some mad bastards, check this channel out. Good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. Next week, Ray Hernandez on the 16th at 10 p.m. UK GMT.
Nice.
5 p.m. Eastern. Good night, God bless.